Ah, but which one is the real Emma Peel? Hello and welcome to Fighting Femmes, Fiends, and Fanatics. My name is Todd Statman. I'm the author of the blog Die, Danger, Die, Die, Kill, aka 40K. I also write for Teleport City and once shared an elevator with Eric Estrada. Today I'm going to be talking about a Mexican spy film from 1967 titled Con licencia para matar. Now, one of the downsides of this format is that you now get to hear how terribly I pronounce these foreign titles, and for that reason I'm from this point on going to just refer to that film by the English translated version of its title, which is License to Kill. 1960s spy films are generally pretty goofy, and that's especially true of the ones made in Mexico.
Miren.
At the same time, Mexican spy films have a sort of honesty to them that I really like. They're so concerned with showing us girls in bikinis doing the twist to twangy guitar music that they often don't seem to bother much with having an actual plot. In place of that, they just throw in a few killer robots, a cackling guy in an eye patch, some gaudy, colorful production design, and a couple of fist fights, and maybe blow up an old car if they feel like getting fancy. License to Kill is the second of a pair of films featuring Las Tigresas, a trio of catsuit-wearing female secret agents for hire. In keeping with the trend I just mentioned, the main order of business in both of these films seems to have been to include lots of random musical numbers and scenes of the Tigresas lounging around in various stages of undress. But while the first film, Dangerous Dolls, was barely there in terms of plot, License to Kill seems to have enough going on in it for both films. For starters, we have not one but two competing sets of supervillains, including a beatnik mad scientist with a trio of super powerful green-faced androids at his command. And then there's a blonde bombshell revolutionary who conceals her true designs under her cover as the owner of a posh go-go club. The cast here is a real rogues gallery of familiar faces from 1960s Mexican genre cinema, the most important of whom, at least to my biased eye, is Monty, who plays the bow and arrow-wielding Chief Tigresa, Diana. Monty was an Italian-born actress who came to Mexico in the early 60s. She had first found work as a model before becoming a fixture in Mexican B-movies, with appearances in such quintessentially 60s classics as Santo vs. the Martian Invasion and Las Vampiras with Mil Mascaras. Probably her most memorable role, though, is as the star of the copyright-flaunting classic Batwoman, in which her costume consisted of a cape, a mask, and really very little else. I find it difficult to put my feelings for Monty into words, and that's mainly because I can't think of a verbal equivalent for those scenes in old cartoons where a guy sprouts a giant wolf's head and his eyes pop out to the sound of an old-fashioned car horn. The thing I love about Monty is that she dropped out of the film business in 1970, and by doing that she sort of left our image of her as a peaked-capped, go-go, boot-wearing mod icon sort of suspended in amber. We'd never have to deal with seeing her in macrame granny dresses or plaid elephant flares or any of the other fashion-related horrors of the 70s, and for that we should be extremely grateful. License to Kill finds Monty's Diana on the eve of her retirement from the Tigressas, destined for marriage to her new fiancé and a life of quiet domesticity. Fortunately for everyone except those looking forward to a really boring movie, the gang is drawn back into the espionage game when the diabolical Dr. Klukes, played by frequent Mexican cinema bad guy Noe Murayama, who I also might add was a bad guy in a couple of spaghetti westerns and Eurospy films, blames them for the theft of his stash of stolen gold and sicks his terrifying trio of killer androids on them. Now, mind you, these androids are really just three dumpy guys in wetsuits with their faces painted green and the letter K written in masking tape on their chest. It turns out that the mad scientist's gold was really stolen by Adrian, played by Claudio Ailes, who under the cover of running an upscale discotheque is actually amassing funds for a planned revolution. Klukes eventually gets wise to this, and he and Adrian, thanks to their shared antipathy for the Tigressas, enter into one of those tenuous supervillain alliances that you just know is going to end with one of them shooting the other in the back. The Go-Go Club setting here affords the opportunity for a couple of musical numbers, both of which are performed by a group called Los Rockin' Devils. The band plays an agreeable south-of-the-border version of the kind of mid-60s party rock that was trademarked by groups like the Kingsmen and the Premiers, but with male and female vocalists trading off the leads. The Devils were in fact a real band, and were active at least as recently as 2003. They also appeared in another of director Rafael Baladon's goofy spy pictures, another one starring Moramonte called Cazadores de Espías, in fact performing on the very same set that you see them on here, which suggests that both films were made in very close proximity. License to Kill may sound like a lot of fun, and there is indeed fun to be had, but the truth is that the film overall is a little uneven. It transitions from broad comedy to light-hearted adventure to scenes in which it seems to be trying to be a serious, hard-boiled spy film a little inelegantly, and then the final act takes a pretty grim and violent turn that jars pretty uncomfortably with what comes before it. In the end, it probably benefits most from the fact that people like me, who are drawn to these kind of films, the type of films that have catsuit-wearing female super spies fighting green-faced androids, are a pretty undemanding lot. But really, why should anyone be dissatisfied with a movie like this when you've got a revealingly attired Moramonte, karate-chopping robots, mad scientists, and lots of go-go dancing? I mean, other than the fact that those elements are contained in pretty much every other Mexican spy movie from the 60s. And that's it for me. Once again, this is Todd Statman filling in for the illustrious Steve Mayhem, who is off somewhere searching for Incan treasure. If you want to catch up with me before my next appearance here at Fighting Femmes, Fiends, and Fanatics, you can visit me on my blog, diedangerdiediekill.blogspot.com. See you next time.